Hello and welcome back to Excelsior Academy. So this is again the second lecture upon the cell cycle interview based questions. So these questions are taken from the Cooper only, and if you have gone through all the cell cycle lectures, then it will be easy for you guys to answer these questions. Now, why I'm taking all these questions? Because these questions are going to allow you to judge yourself whether you are actually thorough with these cell cycle concepts or not. And these questions are actually then again you can twist the questions, and such questions can be asked during the interview. So let's begin with the our second lectures, which are based on the interview type questions. So the first question is, why did frog oocytes provide a useful experiment system for the initial identification of the MPF? So if you remember MPF, it is your maturation promoting factor. It is made up of your cyclin B as well as CDK1. So if you remember this, it is required for your M phase entry also. Now the question is, why did frog oocytes were the better option? So this, it's very simple actually if you think about it. If you know the concepts that the frog oocytes, they are they are large in size, they have got the good amount of cytoplasm, right? So whenever the cells are getting divided, they are dividing uniformly. So once they get arrested at G2M phase, and it G2M phase, and because of their large size and having rich amount of cytoplasm, it is easy to arrest the cells at the G2M phase by injecting the progesterone or any other hormones in order to study. Okay, so that's why it was easy for the scientists to study in the frog or oocytes. That's why it has been selected. Okay, so moving on to the next question. How would inhibition of the APCC ubiquitin ligase affect the cells in mitosis? So if you see that what is APCC, it is your anaphase promoting complex. One second. Okay, so it is your APC is your anaphase promoting complex. And in the previous lecture, we have talked about the checkpoints in which anaphase promoting complex or cyclosome is involved. So it is actually your ubiquitin ligase, which is responsible for the protein degradation, right? Now, suppose this is not working. If suppose APC is not working, so what will happen? So if there is an inhibition of APC, it will then prevent the degradation of the cyclines. For example, cyclin B. So this eventually will result in the arresting the cell at the metaphase. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So you need to remember where this anaphase promoting complex plays an important role, what exactly it is doing. And from that, it is very much clear at which stage of the cell cycle it is going to arrest the cells. Okay, so moving on to the next question now. The CDK inhibitor P16, it binds specifically to CDK4/6 cyclin D complex. So P16 is binding to your CDK4/6 cyclin D complex. So just let me write it so that it becomes easy for us to understand. So CDK4 and 6 is there. It is bound with your cyclin D. Okay, so something like this. What would be the predicted effect of the overexpression of P16 on the cell cycle progression? So what will happen if the expression of P16 is overexpressed? Would overexpression of P16 affect a tumor cell lacking a functional RB protein? So overexpression of P16 is going to block your cell cycle progression at the restriction point itself. So what is happening? It is going to inhibit the phosphorylation of the RB then, right? So if you remember, so since it's an inhibitor, it is going to then block your cell cycle progression, right? So you know that you need CDK4/6 cyclin D in order to pass on to the next phase of the cell cycle. Now suppose P16 is high in expression, that is overexpressed. So it is going to overexpression of P16 is going to block your cell cycle progression at the restriction point only. So it is not going to, so it is going to inhibit the phosphorylation of RB. Now what will happen if suppose RB is not phosphorylated, then passing on to the next, that is the RB. If you remember in the previous lectures, the RB, sorry, yes, RB is bound to your E2F, that is your transcription factor, right? So if it is not getting phosphorylated, E2F will not be free, and hence there won't be any expression. Okay, so that's why it is important. Now, so so the next question was, would overexpression of P16 affect a tumor cell lacking a functional RB protein? No, it is not going to affect the cell lacking the functional RB protein if you see the pathway and all. Okay, so I hope this is also clear. So in order to answer these questions, you need to remember all the pathways in which these cyclins are involved. Okay. So you identify a microRNA MIR84 that binds to the sequences in the 3' untranslated region of cyclin D mRNA. So here we are talking about cyclin D. So it is about the cyclin D mRNA is there, to which this is 5', this is 3'. To this, your micro RNA has been bound. Okay. Now, how would you expect expression of MIR84 to be altered in response to treatment of cells with the growth factor that stimulates the cell proliferation? So the thing is that the miRNA will go and reduce the cyclin D expression. So what will happen? So since there is a less expression of the cyclin D, so the expression will be decreased in response to the growth factor stimulation. So even if you have got the growth factor, which is going to give the stimulation for the cell proliferation, since a microRNA is there, it is going to reduce the expression of your cyclin D. Okay, next question. What effect would a mutant of RB, that is retinoblastoma, that can no longer be phosphorylated by this have on progression through the cell cycle? So as just now we have discussed, so you have got the RB, it is bound to E2F. Now they are saying that it cannot get phosphorylated. So what will happen to the progression through the cell cycle? Right. So what is going to happen, since it is going to become a mutant RB, so it is not going to get it is not going to get inactivated by the phosphorylation, right? So no phosphorylation is going to possible. So it is going to block the further cell cycle progression. Simple. It means what? It is not going to express. So you know that E2F is required for your cyclin A expression. So it is not going further. So hence it is blocking the cell cycle. Again, why is APCC important in restricting the initiation of DNA replication to once per cycle? Now it degrades the cyclins. So it is, if there is inhibition in the S phase, G2 and M phase, it is going to maintain a high level of CDK activity, which will prevent its reinitiation at an origin. Okay. So APC activity increases in G1, inhibiting the CDK activity, allowing all the MCM proteins to reassociate with the origins for the next round of DNA replication. So this is why APC is important. Now, if still it is not clear, you might need to go to the back to the videos where we have talked about the S phase entry and the DNA replication, and there you can see how exactly sorry, how exactly APCC is playing an important role in carrying out the initiation of the DNA replication only once per cell cycle. Okay. Now, the last question, sorry. How would inhibition of the V1 protein kinase affect operation of DNA damage checkpoints? So V1 actually phosphorylates and inhibits the CDK1 activity. It also inhibits the cell cycle progression. So if you inhibit the V1, what will happen? It is going to abolish all these operations of these checkpoints. So that's why the activity of V1 protein kinase is also very important. So thank you for listening, guys. I hope this kinds of questions are giving you some insight, like what kind of questions can be asked in your future once you clear your written exams. So I really wish you all the best for your exams. Thank you. Keep watching.